Hello, lovelies. You're welcome back to this channel, The Immigrant Nurse, and my name is Bola. I am your host here. So, today, guys, I'm just here to grant some of your wishes because people have been dropping comments in the comment section that do a video on how to prepare for IELTS, talk to us about how to prepare for IELTS, and I'm like, you guys, I'm not even a guru. But the truth is I'll do my best to tell you how I prepared for mine and how it was helpful and how I passed in the first sitting. Anyways, so if that's something you're interested in watching, stay tuned. And if you're not interested in watching it anyways, don't go without clicking the subscribe button. Who knows, there may just be a day where I'll film a video on something that might interest you, and if you don't click the subscription button, you may never know. So please hit the red subscribe button down below. It is free, you don't have to pay for it. Okay, so for those who wants to hear the gist about how I prepare for my IELTS without any without failing it, passing it at once, let's dive right into it. So the first thing I'm going to tell you guys about is, number one, you have to erase that thing from your head, that thing that tells you that IELTS is difficult. The thing is, there's been a lot of myth and misconception about IELTS. I remember there was a time in my life, far back in 2015, when I was supposed to write IELTS and SAT because I was trying to get admission into a school in US, and I felt IELTS is just a very difficult exam. I may never pass. I paid for training, I paid for the exam, and I ended up not writing that exam. I didn't even attend the training because I just felt it was one difficult exam, and yeah. But fast forward to 2021, as God will have it, it has always been in the plan of God to bring me to the abroad, But fast forward to 2021, I found myself in that situation where I have to write IELTS. And this time around, there was no going back. Like, I just had to write it. And it started with me, preparing. I went to search on YouTube for places or videos of people who have traveled into the UK as a nurse who wrote academic IELTS, because there was this belief that academic IELTS is more difficult than general IELTS. You guys, I'll say that is a lie, because I wrote both. I wrote general IELTS for Canada and I wrote academic IELTS for UK. So I have an idea of what both exams looks like, and I'll say that academic is not much more difficult. The only difference is that academic IELTS reading passages is more comprehensive, but the truth is that the marking scheme for academic IELTS is more flexible. I mean, the reading module now is more flexible than that of general training, because in general training, if you scored 34, is a fail. Is a fail in the sense that your band score won't be 7, it will be 6.5 if I'm correct. Meanwhile, if you score 34 in academic reading module for IELTS, is a pass, because you will score a band score of 7, which is a pass for what you want to use it for. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So in the real sense of it, both exams are not difficult. Both exams is not, as in the exam, one of the exam is no more difficult than the other one, if that makes sense actually. So how did I prepare for my IELTS? I started by researching. I did a lot of research for materials. I made a stupid mistake paying somebody to review my writing. I said it was a stupid mistake because it wasn't effective. In all honesty, it wasn't effective paying that person, and I felt that it was totally unnecessary. In retrospect now, all you just need to do is find reliable materials and make use of it. And the reason why I said reliable material is because there are a lot of resources out there, and not everything is useful for the IELTS exams. There are IELTS resources, but they are not all useful for the IELTS exams. And I'll be leaving the list of resources you may want to check out for what module of IELTS academic in the description box. So take a look at that, and I hope it's going to help you. So let me start with IELTS listening academic module. For listening, you just have to practice. Practice. There is this telegram group I joined. It wasn't a group really, it was a channel, and on the channel all they put there is IELTS Cambridge materials. And I think that if you're able to lay your hands on something like that, or you can go on Google and search for IELTS Cambridge materials, past questions, it's going to bring a lot to you from module 1 to 14. I think there's a module 15 now, I'm not so sure. But the last I know of, I know that there's a module 14. If you're able to practice all the questions in the module, trust me, you are going to ace the exam. You are going to ace it. Like, you cannot even make mistakes. And the reason why you should be careful of resources you are using is because sometimes some of the resources have some mistakes in them, and you'll be wondering, are you the one making the mistake or the resource? The truth is, the resource is the one making the mistake, not you. Because you get to realize that after listening to the recording over and over again, you realize that it is actually not your mistake. It is the mistake of the resources. That's why you have to be wary and careful of what resources you are going to use to prepare for IELTS. Then another thing I would say is, for the listening module, always listen with earpiece. Like, if you're writing your IELTS exam in 2 weeks, start now by practicing listening to music with earpiece. Practice did I say practicing? Practice listening to music with earpiece. Practice listening to podcasts with earpiece. Everything you want to listen to on your phone, no matter how insignificant it may seem, even if it's ordinary voice notes, listen to it with earpiece. The reason is because in the examination you'll be given an earpiece or a headpiece. I don't know which one is applicable, but you'll be given headpiece, and that headpiece is the medium through which you are going to listen to the recording for your listening exam. So if you're already used to picking words carefully using earpiece, it will be very, very easy for you to adjust and adapt that into your exam, and it will boost your success for the exam. Then another thing for listening module is, you guys, you cannot be listening and be distracted. You cannot afford to be distracted at all. So if you are, the best tip I would say worked for me was, during my listening test, as the recording was playing, I was following through with the question. So immediately I saw something that was similar in the question, and I heard it in the recording. It was easy for me to, pick it that this is the answer to the question. I don't know if you understand. Then another thing you should take note of is, if your question is in plural, then your answer will also be in plural. So let me give an example. The cars are moving in dash. In your recording, listen very, very well. The cars are moving in dash. In your recording, listen very, very well. The answer will be in plural. So it should be, the cars are moving in rows. So it has synchronized with the question. That's another thing you have to look out for in your listening test. Yeah. Then another thing for your listening is, when you are listening, make sure all your mind, don't focus on anything else. Your mind, your spirit, your soul, your body is focused on the recording. So if it's for you to, get rid of every form of distraction, that's not the point. You remember that the jollof rice you want to cook in the evening needs crayfish. I know it can be very, very distracting sometimes to focus, but for the sake of this exam, you just have to focus. There's nothing else you can do. Now for the reading module. The very first mistake I think that people make is, they prepare for academic reading module using general training reading module questions. And what do I mean? Normally, if you don't know, just in case you don't know, I am telling you that I am telling you now that the academic module reading questions is more comprehensive. The passages are more comprehensive, they are more detailed, and they can be very, very clumsy. So if you are not familiar with that setting and you've already familiarized yourself with the general training module setting, which can be scanty, which can be straightforward, you are going to find it very, very difficult in your exams. And the truth is, reading is like the most challenging part of academic IELTS exam. So you have to pay a lot of attention. And what materials can you use to practice with? It's still the same Cambridge past questions. So I don't know what other materials I can tell you to use. But you see Cambridge past questions, they are very, very effective. I will check my phone if I can still find the link to that IELTS channel on Instagram. If I can find it, I would paste it in the description box, so you can just go there and utilize that opportunity. Okay, the details can be very, very clumsy when it comes to yes, no, not given, but I'll keep it short and simple by telling you that for your yes is yes, and you cannot afford to bring in logic into your IELTS exam. So something that seems very, very incorrect to you does not matter, as far as it is correct and in similar way with the question. That is all that matters. So if your question is telling you that the intestine is black in color, we know you are a nurse, you know that your intestine is not black. But the question has told you that the intestine is black, and the the passage has told you that the intestine is black. Now the question is telling you that the human intestine is dark colored. Please pick yes, because dark colored means black. And that's another thing you have to familiarize with concerning IELTS exam. Synonyms is very, very, very important. Is very, very important. So know your synonyms very, very well, because they will not repeat word verbatim. So you have to know if good means great, or if beautiful means pleasant to the eyes. Things like that you have to familiarize yourself with. It doesn't mean that you have to go and start reading dictionary. Just build your vocabulary. It starts with something as little as speaking good English yourself, to chatting properly with people, typing your words in full, not using abbreviations, listening to good English from other people, things like that will just help. It may look very, very insignificant, but it is very, very crucial and important. Yeah, so that's it. And for your matching headings, I think the formula that worked for me was, most times the answer to your matching headings is in the first paragraph. You don't even have to stress so much. Most times, I do not say all the time, but you still have to scan and skim through the rest of the passage to be sure that there is not a more suitable answer to that question. I hope that helps. For your writing, I would say consistent practice, but the truth is, even if you are writing and you are not getting a way to examine your writing, you may not be so sure if you are correct or not. But there are some basic things you should look out for in your writing module. Number one is paragraphing. Paragraphing is very, very important, and I'm going to say that the most important type of paragraph, or the most effective form of paragraph you should use, is line paragraphs. So if you don't know what a line paragraph means, I will insert a picture of an essay somewhere around so that you can have an idea of what line paragraph means. So it means that after writing your first paragraph, you can start from the margin. After writing it, you leave a line before you move to the second paragraph. It is very, very good to write that way. Then it's very simple. When you're writing your IELTS, your first introduction should be you paraphrasing the question. And paraphrasing the question does not mean you have to replace everything word for word. You just have to paraphrase just what it says. So you summarize the question and reflect it in a way that you want to explain it before you move into the body of the essay. and the body of your essay should not be more than 2, then your conclusion. So in total, the paragraph should not exceed 4. By the time you start writing 4 paragraphs, then you start writing rubbish. Like by the time you start writing more than 4 paragraphs, you start writing rubbish. And I should also tell you that for your writing, for tax 1, the maximum words should be 150. Make sure that you don't exceed 170. Anything that makes you exceed 170, just make sure that you have failed that exam. Just know that you have failed that exam. And the reason why I said so is because the less you write, the less your errors. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's the truth. By the time you write more, you tend to commit more errors. Sure, you understand? So I'm talking about IELTS and I'm saying sure you understand, whatever. So make sure that you keep it simple and straightforward. And for your tax 2 should not exceed 250. By the time you start doing 280, 300 words, just know that you have committed a lot of errors and blunders and you have made a lot of mistakes. So whatever idea you're trying to talk about, keep it short, simple, and straightforward. Then for your writing, if you have an opinion essay and you read your question, please and please, the first few points that comes to your mind, immediately you read that question and you feel you can answer the question with those points, write down the points in your question paper. Once they tell you that open your question paper and start, go through your question. And you see that, okay, they tell you that nowadays, people think that it is more cost effective to commute via train rather than via airline. And you think that it is true. You want to agree and tell you that discuss both views and give your opinion. So you feel that for you, or you think it is true and you want to give your opinion. Of course, you have to first talk about both views. So both views will mean that you are talking about the advantage of traveling via train over airline. And the second view will be you talking about the advantage of traveling via airline over train. Then if you don't want to give your opinion and you want to support the point of traveling via train over airline, just give 2 basic reasons why you feel traveling via train is much more effective, much more cost effective than traveling via airline. And that's it. Keep it simple, conclude your essay, and that's it. Very short, precise, and straight to the point. You don't have to overstretch it or stress yourself. That's that for writing. And for your writing, I'll say that once you write using past questions. And it still boils back, it comes back to using Cambridge IELTS past questions. So for the good thing about the Cambridge past question is that you have all your answers as well in it. So once you write, go back to the answer to that writing question. See what they have talked about. Like, try to look at how they have written their essay. Use that to judge your own essay. And from that, you'll be able to pick out your errors and point out your mistakes. Then there are other 2 people that I used on YouTube. E2 Ielts with J. That guy was very, very helpful for me on YouTube. Then IELTS Liz. I use IELTS Liz basically for my tax 1. I didn't use that for my tax 2. But when it comes to tax 2, I use E2 Ielts with J. That guy is very, very good. Like, he's very good at what he does. So you can check out some of his videos. I will also leave the link in the description box for you guys to check out. And that's that for writing module. Now for the speaking module. For your speaking module, I'll just say you just have to practice with your mirror. I used my husband to practice when I was practicing mine, and he was very, very good enough to point my attention to some errors and mistakes I made. If you don't have somebody to practice with your mirror. Then record yourself while you're practicing for speaking. So if you are discussing something, time yourself, record yourself, play back the recording. You will hear your errors. You will be mindful of it and you will correct it. Then E2 Ielts with J has this very nice format for speaking test, and it was very, very helpful for me in such a way that I was able to generate more points with his formula, and I was able to speak for the maximum for the required amount of time I needed in my speaking test, and it helped me. I think I scored 8.0 in my speaking test. I can't remember. I'll look for my result and put it somewhere around. Or I'll put the details in the description box. So check out that video. I'll also leave the link to the speaking video in the description box. If you use that formula by E2 Ielts with J, trust me, you are going to ace your speaking test, no matter how difficult it may seem, no matter how vague the topic is. For example, during my speaking test, I was asked to talk about, I think, fish farming or poultry farming, something I don't really have so much idea on, but I was able to come up with something using that guy's formula. So check the description box for that link. And that's everything I want to talk about concerning IELTS. I'm not a guru, disclaimer. I'm not an IELTS tutor. These are the few things that really helped me with the exams. So I hope you find this video helpful for those who asked for it. I hope you are able to pick one or two things from the video, and I hope it really helped you. If you are preparing for IELTS, prepare by polishing your English language. Just understand the technique of the exam, understand what is required of you, go there, pass it, and come to the UK. Okay? All right? So that will be all for now. If you have any further questions for me, let me know in the description box below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It is free. You don't have to pay for it. It is free of charge. Click that red button now. All right? Thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Bye. Get into G. Kind. Get into G. So most times, you guys, I'm sorry, my son is awake. Most times, the answer is in the first paragraph.